Hi, I'm Tim from Marathon Mates. On this episode, we are very fortunate to be speaking with the Team Kerr. Team Kerr are a Northern Ireland-based family who are champions of inclusion and have fought hard for equality for disabled athletes. This is going to be one very special episode. Are you ready to run? Let's go.
Welcome to the thrilling world of the Flying RuNR, brought to you by the Marathon Mates.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Flying RuNR. On this episode, we're going to be talking to Team Kerr. Team Kerr are an amazing family from County Down in Northern Ireland. They comprise of Dad David, Mum Sandra, and the main man Aaron, who you can hear in the background. Aaron was born with chronic renal failure, which resulted in a kidney transplant at the age of 13. Aaron received his kidney from his dad David. And as well as this kidney condition, Aaron has been diagnosed with cerebral palsy, epilepsy, and a chromosome disorder. Aaron is a full-time wheelchair user as well as being non-verbal. Theirs is a very special story of inclusion, and I can't wait for you to hear their story to be told tonight. So, guys, welcome, Team Kerr. How are you guys tonight?
Thank you. Yeah, we're good. You want to wave hello, Aaron? Hello, Aaron. Very excited. Very excited.
So we should So we should tell our listeners it's 6 a.m. Sunday morning our time when we're recording this. It's 8 p.m. Northern Ireland time. And it's been a busy week for Team Kerr this week, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. As well as talking to Team Kerr, I'd like to also introduce our normal panel members tonight, Tony and Tara. Welcome.
Welcome. How is everyone out there today?
Good. I'm very excited about today. I'm looking forward to listening to the Team Kerr story and also having a chat to Aaron and Sandra and David. It's going to be great. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Should be awesome.
So as usual, guys, what have we done this week running wise? And Tony, how's your ankle?
Yeah, well, I'm sitting here currently not in my boot, and which is a good thing, but I'll put it back on today as I get moving around. I got out and did my first time on feet yesterday, about 3.5 Ks at a very slow 11-minute kilometre pace, but I didn't want to put too much additional stress on. So I'm feeling that the fracture's healed. But of course, I've got nothing but feeling with that. Now it's just taking it easy, making sure I don't overdo it, and just getting the tendons and everything right. I've still got a little bit of pain under the ankle and behind the ankle at the Achilles. But I'm now, 14? It was 100 days to Tokyo just the other day. So I'm now starting to look forward with a little bit more optimism than what I was over the last couple of weeks. So looking good. And you guys had a bit of a field trip out to Dalby yesterday, I saw on your socials.
Yeah, so we drove out Friday afternoon. That was about a 3-hour drive out to Dalby on Friday afternoon. And then we did Dalby Park Run. So, yeah, lovely little 3-loop course. Very nice. Lovely, friendly volunteers and friendly, happy people that were actually running it as well. So it's good. Yeah.
Highly recommend Dalby as a course. It's not a bad little town to go and visit and to spend some dollars in. And they've been through a little bit of trouble out there in the last few months with bushfires out that way. So, and it's heavy rainfall the last week. Everything's starting to green up, so you don't see the scars of the bushfires as much.
And Team Kerr, you guys do park run too, don't you?
We were going to do it this morning, but Aaron had different plans. He wanted to lie in, so we didn't get there this morning.
I don't blame Aaron. I'd like a lie-in every now and then too.
Hello, we don't have the same problems as you guys. There was no chance of bushfires. It was about -2 here this morning, so very, very cold. Very cold.
Very cold. Yes, absolutely.
You can keep that one. All right, guys. Well, we keep on the go because I want to spend a lot of time with Sandra and David and Aaron, but we'll get on to the news. So, Tony, let's bring in the news soundtrack. What's been happening around the world this week in the world of running?
Well, we've got our good friend over there at Shanghai Marathon, Cameron Avery from New Zealand, our swoosh boy from the Gold Coast, and on his marathon debut, his elite marathon debut. And as we talked last week, he's aiming for that anywhere between 2:08 to 2:11, and we wish him all the best. We don't have the results. They're probably close to running soon. So probably during the week, we will share the results of Cameron Avery. We've seen a new 15-kilometer world record out there, and there's just so many world records being broken. It's almost becoming like a weekly event, I feel. So Uganda's Jacob Kip Limo, who set a new world record. Yeah, Limo. 15-kilometer with victory at the 2023 Seven Hills race in a city in Netherlands on Sunday.
You don't want to say the city? Nijmegen?
No, yeah, so I just skipped the bits that I don't want to say. So by the 5K mark, he'd covered 14.24 kilometers with a pace of 2:54. At the 10K stage, he accelerated to 2:35 minutes per kilometer, and his sprint speed further improved to 2:31 minutes per kilometer by the time he kicked at the finishing line. So his average pace was 2:44, which is just amazing. Like, I just get amazed at these guys. But as we know, we get amazed by all runners. Everyone who's out there having a crack, good on yous. And we just admire the elites for what they can do, but we admire our everyday runners as much. So
he said
the other...
Sorry, Tony. He said that in 41 minutes and 5 seconds for 15K. It's just phenomenal.
Unbelievable. So now the last piece of news, because like Tim and Tara, I can't wait to get into the conversation today. We were rated #1 weekly running show on a platform called Good Pods, which is like a community platform for podcasters and podcast listeners. So we're pretty stoked with that. That's our first #1. And yeah, I mean, thanks to Good Pods. And if you are looking for a new platform where you can share podcasts and rate and review and all of your stuff, it's like a social media feed for people that love their podcasts. So get onto Good Pods, because we were just stoked to get our first #1 weekly rated running show for the Flying RuNR. So
that was #1 in the world.
Yeah, yes, #1 in the world. And there were some big names in that. Tim actually sent me a little message saying, I don't understand how these charts work. And I've been trying to work out how the charts work for, I've been podcasting since 2014. I still don't know. So, but we'll take it. We're #1 in the world on Good Pods. And we thank the platform. And, if you are looking for a new platform to listen to your podcast, get on to Good Pods, get your friends over there. And as I said, it's quite a unique format. So have a look.
Yep, no worries. Thanks, Tony. That's the news this week. So thanks for that, Tony. Now on to the really good part. We'd like to introduce our very special guests tonight. It's David, Sandra, and the main man, Aaron Kerr. Aaron and David and Sandra are collectively known as Team Kerr. Tara and I have known of Team Kerr for probably the last 12 months or so, and we've been communicating regularly through messages in Facebook and social media. So it's really good to actually meet you guys face to face and to hear your voices and to have a conversation. Again, as we said, welcome David, Sandra, and Aaron.
Thank you very much. Likewise. It's nice to finally meet face to face, albeit virtually.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so good to hear Aaron and you guys. And hi, Aaron. Yeah, absolutely, buddy. It's great to hear your voice, mate. We're really big admirers of you guys. You're so inspirational to us. And every time I sit there and go, I don't think I can keep running. I think if you guys, I can keep doing this. If anyone can do anything, it's you guys. And you have no idea how much you inspire all of us to keep going. So, yeah, it's amazing.
Well, thank you. That really means a lot to us. It really does. Aaron's our inspiration. He's the one that keeps us going. When we find it tough, we look at Aaron, don't we? And he won't let us give up. He won't let us stop.
No, he won't settle. He has to get that bling.
Yeah, likes the bling. We all love the bling. So, tell us a little bit about Aaron's story. I mentioned a little bit earlier on about some of his medical issues in the past, but tell us a little bit about the journey you guys have been on with Aaron over the last 20 odd years.
Well, we started running when Aaron was 17.
Yeah,
didn't we?
17. Yeah, you'd started before.
Yeah, I started running before. I was running for about 18 months before, and I started running to manage my mental health. And then because I was getting on well, David could see the benefits, and we decided to see if we could try and run all together. We got Aaron's running chair, and that's how Team Kerr started.
Yeah, I mean, Sandy was out running, started 5Ks like everybody else, and then sort of progressed up through the distances. And Aaron and I were going along, and we were supporting from the sidelines, watching Sandy. And as the distances increased, so did the waiting times. So, but we could see when she was coming in and coming back, she was on that runner's high. She was, getting all the benefits from it, and her mental health was really improving. So, we did a bit of research at home and found a chair. Initially, the first chair we had was from America. We got that over, and as Sandy says, that was the start of Team Kerr back in
2014.
End of 2014. We did our first run together, as a family, and we haven't really sort of looked back since.
Wow, that's a fair journey. A similar sort of time frame as Tara and me. I think we started around the same time.
Although you guys have done an awful lot more marathons than what we have in that time. So we've known Aaron, obviously you're the main man, buddy, but what's your story? Like, tell us about your life with Aaron from start to now, I guess.
Well, it has been tough. We've had some very tough times. Aaron's had a lot of surgeries. He's had a lot of medical emergencies, so it has been very tough. Hasn't Aaron? You've had a tough time, haven't you?
He's had a rough ride, yeah. Aaron was born in Portsmouth, England, 1987, and sort of really the first, up to about Aaron was 15, 16, was dominated by disability hospitals, all that type of thing. We became more and more isolated from society because you just lead that life where you're just moving from one issue to the next issue. And there's no blueprint, there's no book, you just, things are coming, you get over one thing, something else comes along, and Sandy says it was surgeries and procedures and one thing and another. It was pretty tough for Aaron, and we knew that when he was going to leave school, there wasn't a lot out there for kids with complex needs, so we wanted to find something that not only Aaron could do, but that we could do possibly as a family, because as the kids get older and they turn into young adults and adults, there's a lot taken away. A lot of things you could do, we couldn't do anymore. So we were looking around, and the running presented itself as something that we could do as a family. So it was something we explored. And again, when we did that first run, for the first time in a very long time, we felt that we were actually part of something. That we were, we were just there with everybody else. Okay, we were pushing an 8-foot long chair, but we were there alongside everybody else, and we actually felt part of society again, and that's a hard feeling to get. When you've been excluded for such a long time, to get that feeling was just immense for us.
And the running's made to Aaron, it's really built up his confidence. It's really built up Aaron's immune system as well, because with Aaron, he's immunosuppressed because of his kidney transplant. He'd pick up lots of bugs. But now, because we're out in the fresh air so much, he hardly gets sick. He's exactly the same as us. We hardly get a cold or a flu or anything that's going around. So yeah, it's great for Aaron's medical.
Aaron was regularly off school. He had quite a low attendance rate through illness, or if somebody else was sick in the school, then Aaron would have to stay at home and things like that. But as Sandy says, a byproduct of the running has been the fresh air and building up his immune, which is just incredible. He just gets the odd thing that, apart from obviously all his other issues, but the regular stuff now is touch wood non-existent.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, Aaron's out around with us, all weathers. He does all the training with us, so every time we go, Aaron's out, so he's well prepared for all the weathers.
We have a very strict rule that if one of us is out, we're all out. So we either all go running or none of us go running. So Aaron's done as Sandy says, he's done every single inch of every mile of every training run we've ever done. Aaron's been there for every single one of them. And
I've seen you guys before on your Instagram and stuff where you've got your rain covers, like it can be bucketing down rain and your rain covers are coming on and rain covers are going off. And, it's fantastic to see like the support that you guys have as you come into the finish line. I love the fact that people are now recognizing you guys so much and being so inclusive. It's really, really lovely. And I mean, we did London Marathon the same year. You guys have done it as well. Obviously, you've done a couple of them, but it's just amazing to see that you guys can actually do these major marathons now and be included in that. How much fight did you have to do to get to that point?
It was quite a big fight. It was 7 years. When we first decided to do London, until we got in, it was 7 years.
Yeah, when we did our first marathon, which was the Wall City Marathon here in Northern Ireland in 2015, we caught the marathon bug. As everybody knows, most marathoners would aspire to do, London would be on their list. And we were no different, but at that stage, the rules were that nobody could be pushed in a chair. And we thought that was incredibly unfair. So we approached London at that stage, and we just hit brick wall after brick wall. And over the next few years, we had petitions, we had social media campaigns, we had a lot of that going on.
We contacted celebrities, people that had a platform that had a disability. Everyone we contacted, didn't we? Anyone we could contact, we did.
But unfortunately, we were very much on our own. We got little to no support, apart from a charity back here in Northern Ireland who actually turned down their. They were offered a charity place for London Marathon, and they actually turned it down in support of us. But apart from that, we got no support. Apart from obviously the day-to-day runners who were incredibly supportive and understood where we were coming from, but it was pretty much the three of us that fought to get the change for London. And we just felt that, having done quite a few marathons by that stage, we knew what it was about, we knew what it entailed, we knew we were right on this. I mean, we do understand that there are races we can't do, and we accept that. But we strongly believe that if a race is suitable and it doesn't need to change in any way, shape, or form, there's no reason why somebody in our situation can't take part and be a part of it. And especially when an event is promoting itself as inclusive and one of the most inclusive events in the world, then it should be one of the most inclusive events in the world. So that's why we stuck with it as long as we did.
We couldn't understand major marathons let the chairs in, so we couldn't understand why London was so adamant that we couldn't partake in it. So yeah,
so we pushed it, and it was around the end of 2021 we had a little breakthrough with Hugh Brasher, the race director of London, and then in early 22 we entered into around about a 10-month process to talk about the inclusive future of London Marathon. And through that process, long story short, we had lots of meetings and backwards and forwards, and the result of that was that in the October 22, the London that you guys were at as well, they allowed 4 assisted chairs to take part, and because the decision came quite close to the start date, there was only a couple of us on the start line that time. But it was so successful that in April this year, they actually had 10 places.
Wow.
Now, next year, they'll have another 10 places on the start line. So we're really proud of what we achieved, really chuffed that, it took a long, there was a lot of tears, there was a lot of upset, a lot of disappointment, a lot of letdowns, but it was worth sticking with because we knew it was right.
They actually told us we received an email on Aaron's birthday saying that we got in, And it was like the best birthday present, but we couldn't say anything for a couple of months. It was such a hard secret to keep.
Oh, jeez.
Because everywhere we go, at that stage, everyone asks, what about London? How are you getting on? Are you in? Are you in? And of course,
We knew we couldn't say anything.
we knew, but we weren't allowed to say.
We had to keep changing the subject.
Yeah. The real tough
Yeah.
one. The real tough one.
I could just imagine running the whole marathon was a highlight for you. But was there a specific highlight of London that you can think back and say that was pretty magical?
There was a lot of pressure building up to London because we not done London before. We wanted everything to go well, and it was just so
It was
pressure.
Yeah, I think the moment we realised when we did quite a lot of interviews and things like that. So as Sandy says, there was a lot of pressure, but I think we were around about the 10-mile mark, and we had to pull over to the side of the road because it was so overwhelming. It's really hard to explain, but the amount of people who wished us well, who actually came past us and patted us on the back.
People were screaming
and absolutely screaming at us in the crowd. Aaron's name. I mean, we've been to big marathons before, but nothing quite on that level. And we actually had to pull over and we said, look, this is pretty overwhelming. Yeah. We just need to take a breath, take a minute, and just chill out. And this guy was fine. He was loving it. Mum and me, a little bit different, but we settled down, and it was just the support was just incredible. We've never experienced like it.
We ran that first 10 miles. We didn't have anything to eat, didn't have anything to drink. Everything went out the window.
Oh yeah, everything went out the window.
It was such a perfect day, wasn't it? That day, the weather was perfect and the crowds were perfect.
Yeah.
The crowds around the Cuddy Stark were awesome, and I look at the picture in the background there on Tower Bridge.
Oh yes,
and that was just awesome.
Yeah, I think it was just, and I think it was just sort of coming out of the tail end of the pandemic as well. That everybody was just so pleased to be back, so pleased to be back. It was just, as you say, it was a fantastic, and the weather was just for the UK at that time of year. You guys must have brought something with you in your suitcase. That doesn't happen.
Maybe we should come over to London Marathon every year just for you guys.
Yeah. We'll put a word in.
Thanks.
We know when we got to, it was probably the 25-kilometre mark through Canary Wharf, that area there. And it was starting to really get warm because we were right into the middle of the day. And I just said to Tara, this is our perfect weather that we're running through at the moment. You watch everyone else from Europe here just start to peel off and start walking and getting heat stroke. And sure enough, over the next 5 to 10 Ks, that's what happened. But it was just such a perfect day that day. It was a great day to be running.
It was fantastic. And we were being tracked as well by the BBC. And they kept coming, and we did interviews on Tower Bridge and at the 20-mile mark, and it was so surreal. It was, because we'd waited so long to do it, and then it was there, and we just couldn't believe we were actually there doing it.
Even when we finished, we kept saying, "We've done it. We've done London Marathon." It just wouldn't sink in.
I mean, we'd visualised for so long coming up to Buckingham Palace and turning onto the Mall, and there were points in the campaign where we were like, this is just never going to happen. It's just not. This is a dream, but we visualized it so much, and to be there at that point and see Buck Palace and turn right, it was just phenomenal. It was really worth it. And now to see people, we get messages all the time from all over the world, from assisted runners and who guys did it last year from America. Assisted runners came over, and we're hearing about stories about people who have got life-limiting conditions that are. It was their dream to do London, and they never thought they would, and now they can. And it's just it's what it should be, and it's lovely to see.
Absolutely, and I mean they promote themselves as the biggest charity event around. So for them to be so inclusive now because of your help and because you've pushed so hard for this, I think it's a really, really a good promotion for them as well to actually be going, well, look, now we can actually call ourselves a proper charity event because they are actually including everybody with all disabilities to be able to do this. I guess you guys can't you guys drive everywhere between your marathons. Would it be something that could be in the future to be able to get overseas for another one, like for Berlin or something, or is that just not in the cards at all for you to be able to travel that far? Or
The main problem is the chair, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Aaron's chair now. We have a trailer that comes with us now that we use. We used to be able to get it into Aaron's. Aaron has a wheelchair van. We used to be able to get it in there, but we changed Aaron's van, and now we have a trailer. And it basically what it boils down to a lot of the time is expense. It's so pricey on the ferries. I mean, for us to fly to England to London from here, we could get a flight for 50 quid.
Oh.
50, roughly. But on the ferry, you're probably talking with the trailer that got to £900.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it's the expense really that would stop us from doing that. Because when Aaron was younger, we flew to America. We ran in America with Aaron, but not a marathon at that point. But we love a road trip, but it's probably out of our reach financially, to do those sort of races now. Unless, of course, anyone, a huge sponsor is listening. we're happy to listen.
Well, we are number one in the world on Good Pods, so there might be a potential sponsor out there. If there is.
Abbots, if you're listening, we would love Team Kerr to be able to afford to be able to go over to do some of these majors. You want to sponsor somebody? These are the people to sponsor.
Oh yeah, no, that would be lovely. We've often talked about doing a couple of other majors. We didn't even think we'd get to do one, but we've done London. So we are happy at that. But we would love to. We're always open to offers.
So with London, you were fortunate enough to do it again this year. And at this year's event, you were awarded a special award by the organisers of the marathon. Can you tell us a little bit about that award and what it means to you guys?
Well, it sort of came out of the blue. We just got an email a couple of months or so after October 22 London, and it was just actually before Christmas, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, and we had been awarded what they call the Spirit of London Marathon Award, which is a lovely medal. And we were happy with that. We thought, it was for the work that we had done towards making the marathon more inclusive. And we thought, well, that's wonderful. That's great. And we only ever intended to do London once. That was it. We weren't happy with that. It all went well, and we'll move on. But it comes with guaranteed entry for life.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, that was pretty special. So we thought, well, we have to go back, obviously, to accept the award, which we did at the Expo. We were on stage at the Expo, and we got the award alongside a couple of other very inspirational guys. And so we did the marathon again then in April. And we came back home and we said, look, we've been very lucky. We've done it twice. Do we go again next year? Can we go again next year? And we sort of hummed and hawed, didn't we, really, about it? We weren't sure. And we thought there was a lot of pressure on us the first year because it was the first year and we changed it. There was a bit more pressure on us this year because, again, we were collecting the award and we had to do stuff for that. And we thought, well, if we go back next year, maybe we can just sneak in discreetly and sort of run the event. Not that you can sneak anywhere with an 8-foot luminous green chair, but we can maybe just do that. So, but to get the award was just, it was recognition of all the hard work that we put in. And, we were happy with what we had achieved and we knew that we had changed it for everybody going forward. But to get that recognition was really quite special for us. And it's out in our halls and then takes pride of place. And very, very pleased to get it.
But you are talking it down a little bit. You also got to meet somebody very special. Not just Aaron, but you got to meet.
Yeah, well, Aaron got somebody actually asked to meet Aaron. Tell us about that meeting.
Well, Aaron, who did you meet? Do you remember? Well, there's a bit of a story behind that because we were actually that meeting very nearly didn't happen. I'll build it up slightly. We had the trailer, as I said. We had problems that morning at the hotel with the trailer, with no lights. The lights just went. We had a huge storm as we arrived in London the day before, which knocked out all the lights on our trailer, and we had to be down there pretty early. Our hotel is about 6 miles. Long story short, we literally left with 2 minutes to spare. We managed to get some lights working. We got there we left with 2 minutes to spare. When we got there, do you remember
We almost called it, didn't we?
Yeah, we almost called it and said,
we can't go.
we can't go, this isn't going to happen.
We come all this way and we can't go.
Because they start to close the roads, as you know.
Oh.
We have to go a certain way. And all that. Anyway, we got to where we needed to be, but we were very late getting there. We sorted the trailer out, all that. And we headed up to hospitality. We're lucky enough that we were able to go through hospitality. So just where the start line of the marathon is, they close that off pretty early. And that's the only way we can get through.
And that's in front of the start line, in front of the runners.
Literally at the start line. And we got there and it was closed. And of course, cold sweat ensues. How are we going to get, we don't know. How do we get any, because it's a maze. And we have the chair, so. But the guy was so kind, he pulled the gate back and he said, get across quick. So we legged it across the road and we got in. And by this stage, we were very flustered. We managed to get ourselves into hospitality, into the corner. There's so many people in there and there's a lot of noise. And now, what do you point?
Aaron's pointing at his pictures up on the wall. Got lots of pictures.
And there's a lot of noise in hospitality. And we were a bit flustered because we had to get our drop bag sorted. We had to take some fuel on board, get various things do with what we normally do with Aaron. And one of the London Marathon organisers came over and said to me, Eliud Kipchoge has heard about your story and he's just outside. Would you like to meet him? And it's like, well, you don't need to ask me twice. So I said, no,
I'll give it a miss today.
Yeah. Can he come back and tell him? No. And Sandy couldn't quite hear what they had said. And we had said before we went in, we're not doing any radio interviews or anything like that because we've got to get ready. We're running behind and all this. So I said to Sandy, we've got to go outside. And of course, Sandy said, we're not doing any interviews. We're not doing.
I was getting annoyed with him because I was trying to.
And I turned around and I said, no, we are going outside. And it was literally, we turned around, we went outside, and Eliud was stood there. And Sandy was like, that moment. And we were lucky enough, he'd heard our story and he wanted to have a chat with us. And we were lucky we got a few minutes with him. And it was really all so surreal and a bit of a blur. It was not long after he'd run Berlin and we congratulated him on Berlin. And, we said we'd watched it at home and he gave us some of his wristbands with his No Human is Limited wristbands from his time when he was up 2.
Which we wore and really gave us inspiration during the race.
And this guy gave him the biggest hug. And he was so nice about it. He was just so down to earth, wasn't he?
He didn't make strange at all. He just gave Aaron a really nice hug, and we got a fantastic picture of it. So, which is up on Aaron's wall.
But yeah, it was just, it really was like, we went back into hospitality, and we were like, did that just happen? really, really weird. But it was lovely, and it really made the day. And we were stressed, and it just chilled us out a bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
We were able to relax.
And after that, we met some of the EastEnders cast, and we were really big fans, and we met them and had our picture taken with them as well. So it's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Definitely local celebrities.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone wants to meet the main man, obviously, because Aaron is so inspirational, and obviously you guys are as well, because he wouldn't be where he is without you guys. But for him to sit in a chair for as long as he does, I'm in awe. Like, Aaron is just an amazing human being to do what he does with the support of you, and you guys are just amazing parents. But just to have Aaron to be able to do that as well, I'm in awe. I really am. Like, it's amazing.
Well, Aaron's running chair, he actually sits on memory foam. He's got a lovely memory foam seat. He's very comfortable. Got all of his blankets. Everything Aaron needs is on that chair. So it is literally comfort for Aaron the whole time he's out in his chair.
The first chair we had from America, Aaron was quite low down, but at that stage, there wasn't a lot of selection of running chairs for people with complex needs. So
it was a one size fits all.
Yeah, it was a one size fits all. We had a lot of issues with it, a lot of breakages and things like that. It was quite difficult. So we had the opportunity then. We took the decision to try and get a chair made locally. And we knew by that stage, because we'd done quite a few races and marathons, that we knew what we wanted. We wanted Aaron up a little bit higher so he could interact better with people. And Sandy says the memory foam and the wheel at the front, we used to have to lift. Every time we turned, we would sort of pivot on the back wheels and turn. Now we have a free wheel, so it moves with the chair a little bit better. Just a learning process as we went along. And as we say now, Aaron has the Rolls Royce of chairs now. Perfect. We carry a jack underneath, so we can change. You know, we get the dreaded puncture, which does happen around the course. We've had those in marathons, and we can change it. And we have all Aaron's medical bits and pieces. We literally carry everything we need during an event under the chair or on the chair, including water, food, and because it's quite hard if we're in a marathon. As you know, water stations, people are just everywhere. So we tend to stick to the middle of the road, and we have everything on us. And it would only be maybe at the latter stages of a marathon, if it's a particularly hot day or something like that, that we would maybe need to go and get water. So Sandy would go and grab a couple of bottles and do it that way. So, but we generally have everything we need on the chair.
We're always self-sufficient when we go out for a run, even if it's a training run. We have everything that we need. Because
Aaron will need medication. If we're out for a marathon, we'd be maybe out for five and a half hours or so. So Aaron will need medication during that time and various bits and pieces that he'll need seeing to. So we have to carry all that with us as well. So we've learned over the years. We've made mistakes, but I think we're pretty well-oiled machine by now, aren't we?
We keep saying we want to weigh the chair with everything in it, but we never get round to it. But we'd be interested to see just how much is in the chair.
We've just realised that we haven't given Tony any questions to ask, so
that's all right. I'm just sitting back and enjoying the conversation and finding it incredibly inspiring, to be honest. So, but we've talked about obviously a lot of the challenges you faced in major events. I'm just intrigued about the typical challenges that you would find in a normal week. So let's just walk through, help me understand what a normal week of running would look like.
Well, no 2 days are the same for us. It's hard for us. Well, we don't stick to a training plan because with our life, we just can't stick to one. Everything changes. So we just run when we can, really, don't we?
Yeah, we have
depends what we're training for as well.
If we were training for a marathon, we have a quite a loose and flexible plan that we would use, and we would build up in the weeks to a marathon. At one point, we were literally going from marathon to marathon. So that changed for that. But again, it very much depends on this guy here. His epilepsy is quite a factor in that. Excuse him, he's just yawning. Nobody's bored, he's just tired. or maybe I am, Aaron. Am I bored? No, not too much. No, it depends on Aaron's. A lot on Aaron's health will determine. But we've learned over the years to be pretty flexible. If Aaron has a seizure, this guy's so tough. He's hard as nails. He'll have a seizure in the morning, and it'll maybe take him an hour or two to recover from it, and then he's good to go. He will want to go. He'll point to his running chair. He will point to his running boots. He wants to get out. He just loves being out in the fresh air. So he's as hard as nails. Some days we have to make the decisions for him and say, look, not today, and you need to rest. But on the whole, this guy would be out every day if he could. He just loves being out there.
We've just done Dublin Marathon last month, and we didn't get to do the training that we wanted to do. So we actually only trained up to 13 miles. So, but we did okay, didn't we? We came around our normal time. So
Less is
So
more.
we're only going to be training up to 13 miles from now.
No.
It was horrendous.
I like that training.
The weather was horrendous. It rained from the start to finish, and it was biblical at times. It was a tough day, but it was a tough but enjoyable day.
Yeah.
You know.
That's one of the reasons why we couldn't get the training done, because we had a lot of storms and we can't run in storms. It's not safe for the chair. So the weather stopped us going out. A few seizures stopped us going out. So that's why we only actually got up to 13 miles. So
Yeah, it's not like you can jump. It's not like you can jump on a treadmill either.
no, we did have one. We sold it.
Yeah. I can't. No, I just don't like treadmills.
Well, you need to listen to our previous episode where we tested Red out of treadmill.
I know. No, I can't. I just can't.
We do weights at home, or we do some sort of cardio at home. We just watch something on the on the computer. So we always do something.
We just have to be flexible. If we might plan our long run for a Sunday morning, it could end up being a Tuesday afternoon or a Thursday morning or something like that. We just have to be flexible about it. But our general rule, if we were training for a marathon, is we try and get out and maybe do a 5K and park run and
10K
about a 10K during the week, something like that, and then try and aim somewhere in amongst all that to get a long run done. And then as we would build our mileage up 1 mile to 2 miles per week and just work at it that way. And that way we can be flexible. And then obviously factor in the weight training and things like that in between, because obviously we're pushing a chair and that's considerably different to just running.
Yeah.
So it requires, we've said it often before, but we're probably, or assisted runners are probably the only people who finish a marathon as sore in their upper body as you would in your lower body.
So, David, look, do you push the chair primarily, or is it a shared?
It's shared. I'm on the chair. I have aero bars, as you would see on the bike, on a push bike. So I have aero bars. Sandy's pushing from the side, and it's the two of us. It's always just been the two of us. We might get people we get very well-meaning people. We must look like we're struggling a lot on the hills, because we always get very well-meaning people come over and say, I'll take over, I'll give you a hand, but we politely refuse. It's always been the two of us, but we push from behind, and it just works for us. The chair's built to my height, and I'm 6'4", so there's not many people can really push it.
I could.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Tim. Join me.
I'm happy to join. I'm happy to join Team Kerr for the free London Marathon entry.
Oh.
But in all
You've got to
honesty,
put time in on the small races. You can't just come in for the big ones.
I'm happy to come over for the smaller races too. Trust me. I guess, David, look, you are a bit special as well, because you've donated your kidney to Aaron. So how does that impact on your running? Do you have any issues yourself? Like, do you have any limitations or anything, or?
None whatsoever. I go for a yearly checkup, get my bloods done and all those sorts of things done and checked, and one thing and another. And touch wood again. That was in 2010. Aaron gets his bloods and everything checked once every 6 months now. It used to be quite often, but we're now so quite far out from it now. So it's once every 6 months. And his results are better than mine. So, go figure, he got the good one. Not that mine are bad, but yeah, no, it's just, I mean, we knew at some point that Aaron would need a kidney. We knew that from very early on. Both of us it wasn't even a question. We knew that when the day came that we would be tested. I just happened to be tested first, and we went with that. And thankfully, everything went well on the day. And since it's been pretty good, hasn't it? Really, it's tough. Yeah. It was tougher. I think a lot of the times people, and rightly so in a way, they're concerned for the person giving the kidney and for the person receiving the kidney. But I think sometimes what's forgotten a lot is people like Sandy, who, on the day, she has two of the people that she loves most in the world in two different hospitals going through major surgery, and the impact that has on family is huge. And that was, again, to hark back to where we started the interview. That was really the straw that broke the camel's back for Sandy, because we'd gone through, again, as I say, years of difficulties. And Sandy coped so well at the time. She was a rock. She supported us both. She was backwards and forwards and looking after us both. And then it was shortly after that, when we all got home and were safe and sound and everything else, that Sandy started to struggle. Hence, then, as she said, she went and got the help and started the running, and that's what really, really helped her. But it was a very difficult time for our family, but it was so worth it, because Aaron's quality of life just improved immensely, almost immediately.
Yeah.
And just to see that as a parent is just huge. To be able to give that gift of life. I mean, most people would do it for their kids, and we were no exception, really.
It's an absolutely incredible thing to do, to donate your kidney. David often doesn't like talking about it, but it is just amazing what he's done.
But I keep telling him, if he doesn't behave himself, I'm asking for it back. and he's on thin ice.
He looks like he's pretty perfect to me, so I wouldn't be complaining, but yeah.
No, he's not the worst. He's not the worst.
It's a big thing, I guess, organ donation, and it's something I know in Northern Ireland it's now mandatory. Everyone's an organ donator in Northern Ireland, and you opt out. In Australia, it's the opposite. You opt in. And I do say to any of our listeners to consider organ donation as an option for when you do pass on, or when you do have that ability to be able to donate them. A friend of ours, he died unexpectedly, 12, 18 months ago.
12 months.
And what was it, 3 or 4 of his organs were able to be transplanted into somebody else. So it is a big thing to be able to do, and I highly recommend anyone out there, if they haven't thought about it, to consider becoming an organ donator.
Yeah. And I sincerely mean it, that it's had, apart from obviously the operation and everything, it's not impacted my life in any way, shape or form. I actually didn't run a marathon until after I donated, and I've done 52 marathons. So it goes to show that you can, it doesn't impact, and I would recommend it to anybody. If you can help somebody out, you will literally change their life, and it's so worth it.
And David didn't stay in hospital for very long, did you?
No, I'm not a good patient.
No.
It's the only. I'll never break any world records on marathon courses or running events, but I think I broke the world record of getting out of that hospital.
And I guess with you, Sandy, you would have been so, as David was saying, you're so worried because you've got your 2 people that you really care about so much. You've got another child as well. You've got a daughter, is that right?
Yeah, Aaron's got a big sister called Holly, so I was trying to be there for Holly as well. Thankfully, we had a family member that was, watching out for me.
I know. I was pointing.
He's pointing to Holly on the pictures. Yep.
Aaron was his big sister, that you, Aaron?
Sorry, yeah, I know. We're talking about Holly.
So it was just difficult trying to juggle everything. You're strong at the time, but afterwards you think, oh, this could have gone wrong, or all these thoughts go through your head. It just sort of catches up with you, and that was very difficult time.
It was a difficult time for the family. Yeah. Aaron had been through I think probably because Aaron had been through so many surgeries in the years previous, and we always had a routine of what we would do at the hospital between myself and Sandy, and we couldn't do that this time, and it just sort of threw everything up in the air. We thought we were more prepared than we were, I think, because we'd been through so many surgeries. But this was just, it hit a bit harder.
It wasn't straight away. It was a gradual build-up as well.
But we came through it, and we found the running, and the rest, as they say, is history. But it was a difficult time, but we had to go through it, and it made things considerably better for Aaron. From a health perspective, so and long may that continue.
And it is amazing how good that running is for mental health. I know myself, if I go out for a run, you've had a bad day, or you've just woken up and you're just like, oh, I'm just so, you can feel yourself wired up, your brain's not functioning. You go for a run and you're like, I can conquer anything now. My whole entire world just feels so much better for having that run or just getting outside in the fresh air, as you were saying. So with Aaron, obviously that helps his mental health as well, because he's not stuck within those four walls of inside of the house. So it would help him to become a better person as well mentally, I'm assuming, because he can see outside, he can see people, he can do things that a lot of other people, especially in a cold climate like you guys are in, are just stuck there. So it would be great for everyone's mental health within the family.
Yeah, Aaron loves people watching. He loves animals. So there's so much to see when we're out and about. And Aaron likes to feel the different elements on his face. You know, like we do get sun now and again. You know, the wind, the rain. Aaron likes to feel all those elements as well, which is good. It's good for Aaron.
When Aaron was younger, he had issues with, again, this is a byproduct of running, that he would have trouble going into, say, the school assembly or in crowds. That was a big issue for Aaron.
Aaron was very shy.
He was.
It's hard to believe it, but Aaron was very shy.
And they're running his confidence, which we didn't even think about, but as I say, it's a byproduct of his confidence has just soared. You know, he goes into a room and everybody knows he's there because he's hugging everybody, he's shaking hands with everybody. It's so nice to see, because we've seen the other side where, you know, he couldn't cope, he couldn't handle it, and he's gone literally the other way, sometimes too far the other way. But he's, you know, it's just wonderful to see, you know, and everybody in the running community here at home and quite a lot of places, they all know Aaron. We'll be walking down the street and we'd be with Aaron just in his chair. We won't be in our running gear, and somebody will come over and they'll say hello to Aaron, and we have no clue who they are, but they know this guy, and it's just you know, it's given Aaron a voice.
Yeah. So I'm also conscious of time. We're starting to have to wrap things up shortly, but I'll ask the last question before we go on to the next segment. Aaron, just for our listeners, Aaron was recently awarded a Medal of the British Empire, which is very similar to an Order of Australia medal here in Australia. That must have been a massive reward for all the years of effort and work that Aaron's put in, but also for you guys as well. So can you tell us a little bit about that medal, what it means to you guys, and also, you know, I guess the ceremony and what's happened since, I guess, including this week?
We're so proud of that medal. A lot of people with complex needs don't get the acknowledgement for the work they've done. So for Aaron to receive this, it's just made us immensely proud, hasn't it?
Yeah, as Sandy says, it's hard for people in Aaron's situation. You know, they don't get out there, they don't get the visibility, they don't get the recognition. So there's
no role models really.
Yeah, there's no real role models for people with complex needs, and we'd like to think that Aaron is maybe a role model for others coming behind. But yeah, no, we got the letter came with the official stamp from the King, and it was a little we weren't really sure what was happening. But to open that letter and to see it, I mean, for any parent, for their child, Aaron's 26, but he's always our wee fella. But for any parent to read that and see that their child is being recognised for good, for positive, for change, it was just. I mean, there really aren't words to describe just how proud we felt at that moment. And then we had the job of trying to get a suit, and to get a suit in a wheelchair is, I can tell you, it's not an easy thing. We got him suited and booted and everything else, and we went down. We're actually quite fortunate because we live about 4 miles from the royal residence in Northern Ireland, so it's pretty close here. And we went down a couple of months ago for the investiture ceremony. Now, as you can hear, Aaron makes himself known. To be in a room, a very formal room.
It's the most formal thing we've ever been to.
With 120 other people, with no other noise in the room apart from a harp softly playing in the background. And this guy was a challenge. But he excelled himself. I don't know whether the harp calmed him down, but he was lovely, and it was just wonderful.
Oh, we were so proud of him.
We were so proud of him.
Oh, really well.
He went up and he got his medal off the Lord Lieutenant of County Down, and pinned it on Aaron's chest, and it was just you know, when you've been through the hardships with Aaron every single day, we see all the hard bits, you know, and we've seen the pain and the struggle, and to see him be up there front and center and receive a medal was just immense.
Yeah.
Just immense. And our daughter was able to come home. She lives in Scotland at the minute, and she was able to come home for the ceremony. So we were all together. And then we went off for high tea in our afternoon tea at the Titanic Hotel in Belfast, which was, yeah, lovely. Really, really, just a really special day. So proud, so proud.
And it opens doors, I guess, as well. So this week you opened a very special door.
The biggest door.
Yeah. He and another email arrived, and we were invited over to 10 Downing Street in London.
Wow.
And we were sort of, can we make this happen? Because we had like 2.5 weeks notice or something like that. And we said, we have to make this happen. So yeah, again, we road trip. We headed over via Scotland, by 450 miles to get there. And we went to Downing Street, and there was a reception for a cultural evening for the people of Northern Ireland. And we were there, and I could tell you who was there, you wouldn't know any of them. And lots of famous faces from Northern Ireland were there. And it was just, we got to see behind the scenes a bit, because we go on the special lift and all this type of thing. And it was just to be in the building where there's so much history was huge, you know. And Aaron was the only one there in a wheelchair. Aaron was the only one there with complex needs. So again, he's breaking down barriers and, you know, letting people know that he's about, and hopefully showing an example to others that, you know, this can be done.
And he wore his suit that he wore for his investiture. So he's looking very smart. So the Prime Minister's wife commented about how smart he looked. Yeah. Which was lovely, wasn't it, Aaron?
And we actually managed to get one of Aaron's books over to the Prime Minister. So hopefully he's reading it to his children, or somebody is anyway.
Yeah.
So Team Kerr, if for all of our listeners, Team Kerr actually do have a book about Aaron, and it's called Aaron's Big Green Machine. Is that?
Aaron's Big Green Running Machine, yeah.
Big Green Running Machine, sorry, yes.
No.
And that can be ordered through, if you look up Team Kerr on
.net.
You can order it through there if you want to, and actually look a little bit more about Team Kerr. And it's an amazing story, what you guys have been through. I love the fact that you guys have done so much for your community, and also the needs of other people. It's not just Aaron that you've fought for. It's, as you said, you've got 10 places in London this year and another 10 next year. So you've not just changed Aaron's life and your life, you've changed other people's lives through your fight. And that is an amazing accomplishment. You guys should be so proud of yourselves, all three of you, on what you have done for everything.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, thank you. We just,
that does mean a lot.
It's like, I've said it before, it fills our heart when we do get a lot of messages, and we do see people, you know, they contact us that have gotten into London and other events, because we also changed Manchester Marathon as well a couple of years ago. Similar, obviously not on the same scale as London, but they didn't allow assisted chairs either. So we do regularly get messages from people, and it does mean a lot, because people with complex needs get left out a lot. To see it is huge for us, and if that's, you know, what we've achieved, then we can rest happy now. We thought that we might be sitting in 20 years and see somebody doing it, and we never got the chance. So for us to even just to get the chance, we're absolutely stoked that happened. We'll be happy to sit back in 20 years, and hopefully the event will grow. Starting point, very much a starting point, and it'll grow, and we'll see. Hopefully we'll be sitting in our rocking chairs in 20 years.
No, because
in 20 years' time, you guys are still going to be running marathons, trust me.
Aaron was still wanting you to push him.
Hopefully we'll be watching maybe 50 chairs lining up at the start line of another events. That's the plan, you know. Hopefully.
So what an amazing legacy to leave. Yeah.
It is. So thank you, guys. Before we finish up, we always get all of our guests to do what we call a fast six. So I'm going to hand it over to Tony because this is what he normally does. And I'll get him to do the fast six questions. Go for it, Tony.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, David, Sandra, and of course, Aaron. It's been amazing just listening to your story, and I'm sure I'm like most listeners that are listening in, just amazed and absolutely inspired. Now, the fast six is usually 6 quick questions that we ask our people that have completed their 6-star journeys or runners in particular. Now, I'm thinking the first one is probably a little bit irrelevant, so I'll ask it in a more general sense. So when you're running together, whether it's in training or whether it's in a race, do you listen to podcasts or music, or is it something that you don't do so you can still communicate with each other?
We just argue.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get all our stuff on the road. So
All right. So I'll rephrase the question. So podcast, music, or arguing? What's the best advice given to you? Running advice, sorry. What's the best running advice ever given to you?
Run the mile you're in.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone starting out?
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't focus on times. Just enjoy it.
Yeah. Uphill or downhill?
Oh,
Uphill.
uphill.
Okay.
Oh.
Gels or blocks?
Jaffa cakes.
Jaffa cakes, yeah.
Jaffa cake. What's a Jaffa cake?
Oh, we'll send you some.
It's uphill. Have some.
Yeah, awesome. And the last one, favorite shoes to run in?
At the moment, we're in Brooks.
Yeah.
Yay!
Sorry,
No, that's all right. That's all right. Brooks make a good shoe. They're just boring. So so thank you, Team Kerr, for joining us. It's as I said, I've really, really enjoyed the chat, and I'll make sure that on the show notes we have all the links that are applicable for you, your Facebook page, and the link for the book, so that people can go and visit and support you and follow your journeys and adventures. So please stay online because we're just about to finish things up. So don't run away. But it's been absolutely an awesome pleasure and a privilege to have you both on, to have you all on the show. So, but we've got to do this because it's something that we do every week, and this is called Tim's Tip. And people might get the feeling that I take the Mickey out of Tim for his tips every week, and yes, I do, and that's part of what we do. But I do have to say that I referred back to his long tip about smartwatches the other day just to help me out. So I do have to say that they are of some value. I just wish they were a bit shorter. So here it is. It's time for Tim's tip.
Thanks for that wonderful introduction. I'm going to take a tip from David and Sandra and Aaron, actually, and the main man Aaron today. Running isn't about fast times. It's about just being happy and enjoying the moment. There is a lot of research out there that says if you're running when you're happy, you tend to be injured less. You tend to just be enjoying it. Your muscles and everything are working the way they should be. So work out what makes you happy. Be grateful for the fact that you can run. There's many people out there, as we've heard, and that we know about, that just can't run or can't get out there. So make sure you're happy. Be grateful for the moment that you're in. Run the mile you're in, as David says, and enjoy that mile that you're in, and be happy at that point. And you actually have a longer running career. Those who are focused on fast times, it's great, but it can lead to more and more pressure on yourself, and that can lead to injuries. So be happy, enjoy the moment. That's my tip. Alrighty, so that's Tim's tip. Again, we'd like to thank David and Sandra and, of course, the main man, Aaron, this week. But before we wrap up and sign off, Tara, what's happening next week?
Thanks, Tim. So next week we're going to have the great pleasure of welcoming Sarah Jane Hipwell, a true legend of marathon running in Australia. I first met SJ on my very first marathon, and she helped me through some tough moments. Since then, we've become really good friends. SJ holds the record for the youngest person in Australia to run more than 100 marathon.
Wow.
Her reason for running and the journey that she has taken is so inspirational. I can't wait to introduce her to our listeners. And SJ is an amazing person to listen to. So to listen to all of her running adventures is going to be great next week.
Yeah, we're in for a real treat. SJ is very humble about her experiences, and it's taken a little bit of prodding, I guess, to get her on board. But we can't wait to have her on board next week. So let's get her on. But again, thank you again to David, Sandra, and Aaron. We've really enjoyed you on the show today, and really enjoyed hearing your story. It's time to wrap up the show. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Flying RuNR, and you are listening to it on Spotify or YouTube or any of the platforms that are out there, including Good Pods, please like and subscribe to the videos. It will mean that you get notified every time that there's a new episode drop. Video of this episode is available on Spotify and YouTube, and audio is available on all popular podcasts, including Good Pods, Apple, Amazon, and Google. Remember, every step forward is a victory. Lace up, hit the road, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Until then, happy running, everyone.
Happy running.
Happy running. Thanks, Team Kerr.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.